All right, so this is just a list of questions that I have gotten. So let me look at this. We want to graph this equation. So this is going to be a parabola. It's going to look something like this. Okay. Let's talk about the things that we can figure out really quickly. Really quickly, you can figure out that the y-intercept is going to be the point 0, -3. And that's because if I substitute 0 in for x right here on both of these, those two terms are going to go away, and I'll be left with the -3. So I can get that right there. Now, to get the axis of symmetry, it's going to be x equals -b over 2 times a. So here, a is a 1, b is a -2, and c is a -3. So if I put -b over 2 times a, that'll be 2 over 2, which is a 1. And then I can substitute that 1 back into the formula here, or the equation, and that will help me to get the y-coordinate of my vertex. So here's my x unit, or my x value, here's my y value. So the vertex is going to be the point 1, -4. So if we're going to graph this, we're going to go down here to -3, and here's a point, and then 1, -4, here's a point. And so you would make those two clicks right there. All right. Next one here, we own a hot dog stand. The profit is represented by this, where P is the profit. What is the most he can earn? So that means we also want to know our vertex here. Okay, so because that x squared is a -x squared, now our function looks like this. So we're trying to figure out what the y value is right there. So again, to get the x value, we're going to do -b over 2 times a. So that'll be a -12 over a -2, which is a 6. And then if I want to get the y value, I will substitute the x value into our, into our function here. So we've got p of 6 is going to be the negative of 6 squared plus 2 times 6 plus a 45. All right, so the arithmetic of this is going to be, that's a -36 plus a 72 plus a 45, so we get an 81. So the biggest amount of profit is going to be $81. All right, write the equation for the graph given. Okay, so this is an exponential, and we see that the let me do this here. We see that our asymptote right here is when the y value equals a 3. So there's going to be a +3 out here. We need to figure out the base, and we need to figure out the exponent. So right here, it looks like this crosses right here and right here. So this looks like we're going to have x plus a 1. Okay, so how did I get that? I know I just threw that up there. You can see that this point right here, is the point -1, 4. And so that's one value off of this asymptote, okay? So this would correspond to like our normal y-intercept, okay? Then I see that we also have this point right here of 0, 5. Now, that means that the base here is a 2, because remember, if we just look at a base of 2, Remember I said that you can memorize these 2 points, a 0, 1 and a 1, 2. So look at the difference here. We've got a difference of 1 on the y values. Well, that's the same thing we have here. Okay, so what this is a base of 2, but we've shifted it to the left 1 unit, which is why the plus 1 is in there. Okay. Solving this equation here. So if we look at this equation, I've got 5 with an exponent of 9 minus 3x, and then I'm going to rewrite 125 as a power of 3. Sorry, as a power of 5, which is 5 to the 3rd power. So now, if the bases are the same, then that means that my exponents have to be the same. So 9 minus 3x has got to be equal to 3. So then if I go through the steps of solving this, I'm going to get, what, x is a 2? Okay. So I'm going to go over, because of a later one, what to do if, you know, the question is, what would we do if I can't make this a power of 5? Okay, there's a process to that. We'll get to that one. Which one is it? Right here. Okay. All right. Here, I've got e with the 2x minus 1 exponent, and then I've got e with the 4 exponent. But then that 4, or the e to the 4th, is to a negative x. Well, remember what the rule is for power to a power. When you have a power raised to a power, you multiply those powers. So the power here is going to be a negative 4x. So again, these bases are the same. That means, that means that the exponents have to be the same. So it'll be 2x minus 1 equals negative 1/4. So let's subtract the 2x across. I got 1 equals a negative 6x. And so then if I divide both sides by a negative 6, my x value is going to be a negative 1/6. All right. Let me move that one. Okay. So log of 1, or log base 1/2 of x plus 7 equals 5. So this is p in the log bin. So if I switch it to exponential form, it's n equals b. Okay. So I have a negative exponent here, which means that I'm going to do the reciprocal of this. Okay. So the way to get that to be a positive exponent is to take the reciprocal of whatever is inside those parentheses. And so then 2 to the 5th, isn't that 32? 2 times 2, yep, it's 32. And so then if I subtract the 7 across, I'm going to get x is a 25. Excuse me. All right. Okay. So we want to graph this function here. Okay. Now I'm going to do this one in green, but I'm going to talk about its related function in blue here. Okay. So this is going to be our related function, the base of a 4, so 4 to the x, and it's going to have 2 points, which are 0, 1, and 1, 4. It's also going to have an asymptote of y equals 0. Sorry, I'm going to pause this. Okay, I'm just going to keep going here. So if I transition now to the green, we know that these two functions here, the blue one and the green one, are inverses of each other. So if I switch x's and y's, then I'm going to have these 2 points, and my intercept, or sorry, my asymptote is going to be x equals 0. So this is a terrible looking graph. So 1, 0 is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. All right, so it's going to look like this. And so my domain is going to be from 0 to positive infinity, and my range would be from negative infinity to positive infinity. All right. Okay, let me create some space here. Okay, so here we cannot write 21 as a power of 2. Okay, we can't do it. It's not gonna. Well, I mean, I guess there are methods, but it's beyond the scope of what we want to do. There are easier ways to do it. So this is exponential form. N equals b to the p power. So p in the log bin. Okay. So to solve this, I would add the 3 across. So it would be log 2 of 21 plus 3, and then divide by 4. Okay. Now remember, if they want an exact answer, here's an exact answer. Okay. But if they want a decimal approximation, then what you're going to have to do here, is you're going to do log of 21 over log of 2 because you have to use the change of base, and then you're going to add 3 to that, and then you're going to divide by 4. So if I do log 21 divided by log 2, I get 4 point something. So then I got to add 3 and 7 point something, and then divide by 4, and I get 1 point. I'll just call it 848. Okay, so here's an approximate, here's an exact. All right. Give all the solutions. Okay, so we've got a circle and a line. So we're going to have to use substitution method here. Excuse me. So if I subtract the x across, I'm going to get negative x minus 9. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to substitute it right in there. Okay, so it'll be x squared plus y squared, but we're substituting this in, equals 41. Okay, so if I want to square this, okay, so what I'm doing here is a short method of doing that. Okay, so it will be x squared, an 81, and then an 18x. Okay, so that's what you're going to get. So then I've got 2x squares, I've got an 18x, and if I subtract this 41 over, I get a 40. Now notice that all of these numbers are divisible by 2. That's a good thing, because that means that we can just divide it out and make this factoring a heck of a lot easier, because this is going to get us a factorization of x plus 4 and x plus 5, because we're looking for the factors of 20 that add up to get us a 9. So my x values that I'm going to get for points are going to be a negative 4 and the negative 5. So I got this, and I got, whoops, why did I put a 0? All right, I got this. So if I substitute a negative 4 in here, the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Wow, my hand did something. So I get 4 minus 9, which gets me a negative 5. So that's going to be my y value here. Now if I do the same thing, except for this time substituting in the negative 5, yeah, look what I'm going to get here. 5 minus 9, which is going to get me a negative 4. So these 2 points right here are on both that circle and that line. All right. Okay. Hope that helps.